It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. This round is MotoAmerica Superbikes at Brainerd. It's Mission King of the Baggers, the 5th round for 2024 from Brainerd International Raceway in our 10th anniversary season from right here in Brainerd, Minnesota. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time national champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, Hayden Gillum dominated yesterday, but what went on behind him was crazy.
Yeah, especially when we got to that last lap, and we will explain as we start looking at the highlights. Hayden Gillum, I don't think anybody's surprised by this. He loves the place. He's dominated all weekend. The number one was on rails, and he took off. O'Hara on the 29 gave early chase, but late in the race, he was caught by his teammate Troy Herfoss, as well as Rocco Landers. How does this work? Well, Rocco goes up underneath Herfoss to give Vance and Hines Harley-Davidson their first 1-2. So he stole some points for Troy Herfoss. What we didn't see is right behind, Kyle Wyman was doing the exact same thing to Tyler O'Hara. So the points there were only 3 lost for Wyman, and those two guys have separated themselves from the field as far as the points go.
So as Hayden Gillum threw his front tire up in the air, we were all aghast going, what just happened? Because on the final lap on the left-hand side, you can see Rocco was in 4th and Kyle was in 5th, but it ended up being like the last series of corners where Rocco ends up going 2nd, and Kyle Wyman, who minimized the damage in terms of points to Troy Herfoss by getting around O'Hara. Well, Jay, that certainly was fun, but it's Brainerd International Raceway that we got to contend with, and so tell us about this track.
Well, the first 2 turns here are infamous at Brainerd. Flat out turns 1 and 2, hard braking into 3. You have a series of S's between 4, 5, 6, all the way down to 7. Then the track gets technical, Greg. 8 through 12, very technical sections, and we saw a lot of action between 12 and 13 before that run to the finish line.
It's a fantastic race course, and let's get you inside look with our Insta 360 track lap. It's Rocco Landers on his baggers, and looking at this racetrack, it's tricky. It's flat, you can see a lot, but you got to avoid some big bumps to do a fast lap. Well, Mission King of the Baggers race number 2 is on the horizon. When we get back, we're going racing, so stick with us.
You can see the riders now out in their grid positions. The sighting lap has been completed, so the riders are now waiting for their chance for a warm-up lap. Roger?
Yeah, and just to get an opportunity to, you'll see these riders are probably going to push a little hard on, you know, not to the limit to crash, but they're going to want to see what the track temperature is, the grip levels before the lights go out.
Yeah, we know based off of the Superbike race that just happened, based off of what those track temperatures were, the track is about 10 degrees hotter than we had yesterday with the cloud coverage.
The start is going to be important. Hayden Gillum has showed all weekend how fast he's been. All these riders are going to try to get a good start, and they're probably, if they're close to him, be aggressive with him on that first lap and not let him get away like they did yesterday.
See Tyler O'Hara there, Troy Herfoss, James Rispoli with his rebuilt bike. We're going to go ahead and send it back to Greg and Jason. It's time to go racing.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. And by Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson, Indian, and custom V-twin motorcycles.
That's a cool looking shot.
Yeah.
Rocco going out.
Yep.
Brainerd International Raceway, that is actually water, not the racetrack, as we are in the land of 10,000 lakes. There's the track. What a shot that is. Wait a second, there's houses and stuff in a lake, and
Got a go-kart track, it looks like, over there.
This place is like awesome. Anyway, Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2. It's Hayden Gillum, Troy Herfoss, and Tyler O'Hara on the front row.
With Kyle Wyman, who was quickest this morning in warm-up, and Rispoli and Rocco Landers. Rocco coming off his first podium yesterday, and then we got Jake Lewis, Max Flinders, and Corey West. 9 riders, Greg. So 9 riders, but pretty fast field.
Yeah, the top 6 are all kind of bunched up, and hopefully for James Rispoli, he has a better go at it than yesterday.
Yeah, they had to wheel another bike out for him after the incident that he had down there in turn 11. And a couple bumps have caught people out. How's this guy going to do? If he can get a good start, Greg, he's riding this bagger really well. He's had a great weekend so far on the Twins Cup bike as well. So,
yeah, for Rocco Landers, not only this race, Jay, but sometimes you just need it in his first year in Mission King of the Baggers. And it's going to really give him a boost of confidence moving forward.
Kyle Wyman pulled up alongside Jake Lewis and said something to him, so I'm not sure what that was about, but here we go.
9 laps scheduled for Mission King of the Baggers race number 2. When the lights go off, we're going. Big V-twin rev limiters getting after it. And it looks like a good launch from our pole sitter.
Kyle Wyman, is that him? They just go straight back to last?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Wyman's got a problem. He must have told Jake Lewis that he's got a problem with his clutch, and that's exactly what's going on. Kyle Wyman, second in points right now, told one of his competitors he's got a problem, and he does, Greg. So he is dead last. But at the front, it's going to be Hayden Gillum over Tyler O'Hara as Herfoss now looks to go up underneath Rocco Landers, and James Raspoli's going to be 5th. This is him telling him he's got a problem with the clutch. And I saw it before that, before we actually. Yeah. Man, that is such a bummer.
Pro move, though.
Oh, man, pro move. Total pro move from Kyle Wyman there. He's going to have to do whatever he can just to circulate and try to nurse that Harley home. But this is a big points time now for Troy Herfoss. He's got his teammate right in front of him, and they do not want to let Hayden Gillum get away, but that's exactly what he's doing just at the moment. He's already pulled out probably half a second. You get a good overview of this tight technical section of Brainerd, this big long right-hander. You can see part of the old track there, Greg, that we used to run a long time ago. They've now taken that part out, and they've added this bit.
Yeah, I call this the hourglass part of the track. And you can see riders going through the dirt, and that overhead shot gave you a good idea of where second in the championship is Kyle Wyman. So now with 9 riders in this field, Jay, this really is not the worst time for this to happen to Kyle Wyman. I suppose if he can get it all the way home, there's 7 points at stake for him if he's able to finish in 9th position, not including any attrition we might have in the 8 laps that remain in this race. But right now it's all about Hayden Gillum, a 137.273.
Well, and the other thing from a standing start, it's amazing. But the other thing is Troy Herfoss isn't going to know that Kyle Wyman is out of this race, and he's going to have to deal here with, as he put it yesterday, an ambitious young guy in Rocco Landers who's tasted that podium champagne already once this weekend. Now he finds himself slotted in right behind these 2 factory Indians as he sees his teammate going away. So Rocco looked like he got into 3 a little bit hot and took a little bit extra time to get that thing turned around to get it out of turn 3, and it's moving around a lot on him at the moment.
Yeah, just showcasing his talent, Rocco Landers. It's not the fastest way into the corner by any stretch of the imagination. But let's get to the 3rd member of our broadcast team. For the first time, let's hear from Hannah Lopa.
For Kyle Wyman, they made some big progress overnight. They put it to the test in warm-up, and it's a track record bike on used tires when they went out. It was the first time all weekend he had come off the bike feeling really comfortable and with a smile on his face. So big disappointment there for Kyle Wyman and the team. Hopefully he can finish this race, even if it's in last.
That is even more heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if you were kind of if you're on the struggle bus and you felt like you had a 5th place bike and you're circulating in 9, but the fact that you have a bike that possibly can do track record pace.
Yep, he was quick this morning and watching it. So
now, but Jay, now if you're Troy Herfoss, what do? Do you try to take advantage of this opportunity?
I don't think he knows.
I mean, his pit board might be telling him.
Yeah, he may have that on there,
right?
But it's I don't know if he's going to, maybe have a board that says Kyle Wyman out, or number 33 out.
Because he's not out. He's not out, right? Yeah, he's not out of the race. He's still circulating. He's still at this point scoring some points.
So if it's a clutch, you hear him short shifting it.
Yeah.
So it's a clutch. So he's just short shifting this bike around Brainerd right now, and he's just trying to nurse this thing home for 7 laps, and that's all he can do. And you can hear the bike in a very, very tall gear, not revving out, because he's just trying to make it to where it doesn't smoke it all the way to where it doesn't work anymore. How about Tyler O'Hara? This is what he did yesterday. Let's get back to the front. Hayden Gillum doing a nice job at a 34.9, 34.7 for this man yesterday, for Tyler O'Hara yesterday. He was right there. He pushed Hayden Gillum much like he is right now at the start of this race. And I'm not really sure what happened to Tyler in the last 2 laps, but he went from second and a fighting second to really getting back in the clutches of everybody else. I'm not sure if it was a tire or a problem. I didn't get a chance to speak with him, unfortunately. Very uncharacteristic of Tyler O'Hara to slide back the way he did. Now, that said, Greg, Troy Herfoss has put the fastest 2 splits of the race together right now in this lap here. So Herfoss is trying to move forward, but they're not letting it be as easy for Hayden Gillum, as it was yesterday. There's 2 guys chasing him now.
Yeah, definitely not yet, although Hayden Gillum had an incident earlier in the day where he did hit the deck, And maybe that caused him to think about the pace and how he pushes at the front of a race. But for Hayden Gillum, he's controlling it at the moment. It's about 1 second, but Tyler O'Hara goes a little bit slower. So Troy Herfoss now goes 1:34.3. So Hayden Gillum was able to do a 1:34.7. Tyler O'Hara a 1:34.8. So there was no gap made up there. But Rocco Landers also the fastest lap of his race back there in fourth at a 1:34.9. So at the moment it's Herfoss who's on the charge. And then we have this guy, Hannah, James Rispoli, who's sitting in fifth.
And James had a big off in yesterday's race, was unable to show the progress that him and his team had made. Other than a sore ankle, he was really just more disappointed than hurt. But the team overnight got that bike back together. No big changes today, really. He was relatively comfortable on it, so he's really looking forward to putting that work in and showing the progress that him and the team have made with the setup and as a rider on these baggers.
Yeah, but there's something going on the left handlebar, Jay.
Yeah, not just that, but Hannah, to your point, this is a brand new bike that they had to roll out, and some of the setup, and you can see him adjusting something there. And the problem is, Greg, no two bikes ever feel the same, and a short warm-up session isn't really going to be enough for you to tell the setup that you have. He was still a couple seconds off. Team worked tirelessly last night to get that bike together for him and get it ready to go. But you can tell he's struggling a little bit. He's off pace, and be interested to know exactly what the fast lap time was yesterday, because I'm not understanding this from Rocco too. Rocco has been super competitive. Then these guys in front, as you can see, Troy Herfoss trying to go up underneath his teammate.
Oh my goodness.
Gave him room, but that's going to cost them both a little bit of time. Let's see, he's going to get by. Is he going to make a pass? Yeah, he is. He's going to make the pass from Tyler. Big move from Troy Herfoss as they came under the bridge. He has had a little bit of pace. Again, Greg, he was a 10th quicker than Hayden Gillum. He's going to probably lose a little time in this first split just from that pass all alone.
That was so risky when you
again.
think about the championship too. And up the inside he goes. What do you see, Jay?
All right, well, first thing is, good on Tyler O'Hara for seeing it coming or feeling it, because he obviously got that bike stood upright to avoid any kind of incident between the two factory Indian riders. But I think Herfoss wants to go after this guy. He wants to go after the number one of Hayden Gillum, and he knows he's got a little bit of pace. So he's just ever so slightly getting away from his teammate. And keep in mind, Herfoss on the first day here had a couple of incidents, super unlike Troy. But he fell 2 times in turn 3 on the 3rd lap of each session, which is not an ideal way to start your weekend at a track that you don't know very well. But you can see here, he wanted to get by his teammate and try to make a run at the number one.
So for Troy Herfoss, he's trying to close the gap on Hayden Gillum if he knows what's going on with Kyle Wyman, Kyle Wyman, oh, and there he goes.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
That is a huge error right there for Troy. That is, wow. And Kyle Wyman is going to roll around here in a minute and see this and just not even believe his eyes. So Kyle's rolling around in 9th place. He's probably about 15 seconds right now away from coming up to see Troy Herfoss, and his eyes are going to get really, really big here in a minute.
But here's the situation with Troy Herfoss. Right now, he is trying to get ahead of Wyman. So all of a sudden, if these two are 8th and 9th place, it's only a point.
That's it.
We don't see Wyman in the background just yet. We know that Flinders came across the line in 7th place. So when Herfoss comes across the stripe, there's Wyman.
Wyman will probably have seen that was Troy up ahead of him, and now Rocco Landers has got a problem. So Rocco is going to park his bike. All of a sudden, you got Gillum, O'Hara, and now Rispoli is going to be jumped up into 3rd. So this, all of a sudden, a ton of attrition just happened with about 4 laps to go.
And this is why, if you're Kyle Wyman, you never give up, because you just don't know what's going to happen as we have 3.5 laps to go in this race. Rispoli still trying to make an adjustment on board somewhere on that left handlebar. I'm not quite sure, Jay. Sometimes there's a brake adjuster there. I'm not as familiar with the factory Harley-Davidson equipment, but here's the crash.
Gets in there, he's going to tuck the front. You're going to see it probably. It looks like he almost hit a bagger.
Yep.
The bag hit looked like on the inside curbing, and it just kind of lifted the front wheel off the ground. He's extremely lucky, too, that it didn't snap a handlebar off. So now he's just got off a superbike, remember, and he's got to go lift that bagger up. So Rispoli now is going to just not even believe his eyes that he's in 3rd. Tyler O'Hara 2nd. Hayden Gillum cruising along out front. big 25 points for Hayden Gillum again, trying to get that perfect weekend out of the way.
Wow, this is unbelievable. And Jay, that's what I was trying to allude to earlier, is that anything can happen in racing, and for Herfoss to just catch a little bit of that bump and upset the motorcycle and go down. And this is where we are. Hayden Gillum, Tyler O'Hara, James Rispoli, Jake Lewis up to 4th, Corey West in 5th place with Flinders in 6th.
And you almost wonder, Greg, had Troy known that Kyle Wyman was rolling around in dead last, had he really been trying to push to catch this number 1, you know? And that is the strategy that you deal with your team and some other things. You know, maybe we're not deep enough into the championship for them to worry about who exactly is in there, but those are points. And I don't think, so when I look at this here now, Herfoss is, well, he's 16 and a half seconds behind Flinders. So he's obviously not going to catch Max. So the positions that you are seeing on your screen, or on our screen rather, are where they're probably going to end up.
Now Kyle still has to finish this race, because we have seen motorcycles not make it if the clutch completely goes and it's a freewheeling motorcycle. So Kyle Wyman has got to do everything in his power to get that bike across the line. But if it ends up this way, 7th place pays 9 points where Troy Herfoss is, and 8th place pays 8. All the while, Hayden Gillum is going to grab a heap of points back. You know, the funny thing about the number 1, in talking with him yesterday, Hayden Gillum, is he made note of the fact that the amount of points that he'd earned before the race yesterday wasn't as much as the points he was behind in the championship. But with this turn of events and gaining a whole heap of points back, we'll have to see how it goes, because it's the halfway point of the season for Mission King of the Baggers. There's still quite a bit of racing to go and quite a bit of drama left to have.
Yeah, well, he gained 9 points yesterday. He's going to gain 16 back, I think is what it is today, if Herfoss ends up finishing 7th. So, you know, he definitely got a big handful back on the weekend. And if nothing else, it's just good momentum for this team. Terry Vance has put a lot of time and effort into making sure they get these Harley-Davidsons working well. They come out and win the championship last year. Forget that, you know, Hayden Gillum and James Rispoli won some races and win the championship. I think they went 1-2 in the championship last year. And when you see what's going on here right now between in this team now, it's just unfortunate that Rocco isn't going to get to finish this race either, because he would have found himself on the podium.
So for the Revzilla Motul Vance and Hines Harley-Davidson, number 1 plate of Hayden Gillum. A 1:34.359 was Troy Herfoss, going the fastest lap of the race. Hayden Gillum, 1:33.59. Hayden Gillum, a 1:34.531. He hasn't had to do it as the fastest lap of the race, as he takes the white flag. So he's got 2.5 miles to go at Brainerd International Raceway, in a race that we'll be talking about in this championship. Looking back on 2024, it could be the turning point.
But what's crazy is between the 2 championship contenders, we haven't had those big point swings, even though the opportunity has been there for those big point swings. They just haven't had it. As it goes now, it's going to be Herfoss is going to gain 4 points on the championship on Kyle Wyman, and sure, you'll take it, but it could have been so much better, or it could have been so much worse.
Troy Herfoss is going to be kicking himself after this one, but what an opportunity for James Rispoli to be able to pay his team back for the effort of wheeling this bike out, getting it ready to roll after what happened yesterday. I know it's going to be on Rispoli's mind on this final lap. Gillum, O'Hara, Rispoli, Jake Lewis, Corey West, Flinders. Herfoss does come across the stripe in 7th place, still 16 seconds behind Flinders. Just going a little bit quicker, so like Jason said, there's no time there. And we're still on our timing and scoring screens. Kyle Wyman comes across. So Kyle Wyman is working the last lap of the race. And this guy, what can you say about Hayden Gillum? What a weekend he's had. He's been looking for it. The team's been looking for it. We come to a racetrack where the superior handling of this Revzilla Motul Vance and Hines Harley-Davidson pays dividends. There's not as much of a gap in performance from this bike to the factory bikes when you come to Brainerd International Raceway. And Hayden Gillum capitalizes and now gets that front wheel secured in the air as he takes the checkered flag and his 2nd win of the weekend. And Tyler O'Hara back on the podium. A nice clean race for the 29 and a good points haul of 20 points. And James Rispoli, the 43, on the Harley-Davidson Factory Racing Road Glide will stand third. And now we're looking at Troy Herfoss back in 7th place. Jake Lewis has taken the checkered flag. So has Corey West. And Herfoss pretty far behind Flinders. As long as Max has taken the checkered flag. So 7th place up for grabs as Herfoss has a look around saying, the opportunities I had.
It was there, but he's still going to be happy that he beat his main rival. I mean, he's got very fortunate there that nothing broke off that Factory Indian, and Kyle Wyman goes past where we're actually sitting as Rocco Landers is going to get a ride on the back of Hayden Gillum, and
there you go. Never give up, never surrender. We're going to talk to Hayden Gillum on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
We are with you here on MotoAmerica Live Plus to continue the coverage as the Mission King of the Baggers riders all make their way around on this cool down lap. If you're looking at your screen right now, you see that number 29 Indian motorcycle of Tyler O'Hara, and there's Corey West right behind him popping the wheelie. What a run for Hayden Gillum.
What a run Hayden's had all weekend, and just able to, they tried to put the pressure on him early, but he was able to withstand it. And not only for Hayden, but the whole Vance and Hines Revzilla team, they've struggled a little bit this year so far early on, and they've worked hard and they've stayed at it, and they got the reward this weekend.
Hayden there, you see, picked up his teammate Rocco Landers, who was stranded out on the racetrack. So the two of them will make their way around the circuit. But talk about a shakeup in terms of the championship points.
Big time. And, you know, it's kind of hard for Troy. He probably didn't expect, what do you put on the pit board, because Kyle's still out there getting the points and just made that mistake. Could have gained a lot of points, but I think he felt like he could chase down Hayden, and maybe he didn't know that Kyle had those issues. But, you know, it just Kyle, you know, he probably couldn't believe it when he came around and he seen Troy in the dirt. But they both picked it up, and they still got points, and now it's going to keep the championship close.
Yeah, Troy Herfoss able to finish in 7th. That will earn him 9 championship points, with Kyle Wyman behind him in 8th. That will earn him 8 championship points. So it wasn't a complete loss for those two riders who had both won 4 times so far this season. But for Hayden Gillum, the 2nd win of the season and the 2nd win of the weekend.
Yeah, and just what a roll that he's on. And also just James Rispoli, great rebound from him. He was kind of gifted the podium, but, you know, he worked hard, and you got to finish the finish.
And for Hayden Gillum, he also went quicker today at 1:34.5, the quickest lap of this race. It lowers that race lap record for King of the Baggers. Let's go back next door to Greg and Jason.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. And by Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson, Indian, and custom V-twin motorcycles.
All right, so we're back at Brainerd International Raceway, and yeah, that's 4 legs you see there, 2 sets of legs, because Hayden Gillum was nice enough to stop, pick up his teammate Rocco Landers, and he doesn't care he's doing a wheelie with him on the back. Boy, I don't know if that's legal in the state of Minnesota, but this is 6.5 second margin to victory over Tyler O'Hara, James Rispoli, Lewis, Corey West, Flinders, Herfoss and Wyman, 7th and 8th. Wow, that's going to take us to 13, so only 1 point gain. Good job for Kyle, man, for just making it happen. Let's get down to Hannah, though, as a happy Hayden Gillum.
And what a great Father's Day gift for Hayden Gillum. He does the double here. A perfect race. Take us through how your team just gave you everything that you needed in order to dominate that race from start to finish.
This is just all the work that they've been doing since September. So this one's for the whole Revzilla Motul Vance and Hines team. Steve, Josh, Craig, Terry. I mean, everybody at the shop, everybody that's here on the weekends. Rocco's picking it up and he's pushing me. So it's this is awesome. This is badass. I'm super pumped. And on Father's Day, happy Father's Day, all the dads out there. I got my little man with me up here, so this is awesome.
Congratulations to Hayden Gillum. 2nd place today for Tyler O'Hara, exchanging congratulations with his teammate Troy Herfoss for finishing that race. Another happy Father's Day to Tyler O'Hara. You got your boys here this weekend. Take us through that race. It's a little bit lonely for you once you were able to battle it out with your teammate.
Yeah, hats off to Hayden. I mean, he's been crushing it all weekend. I mean, he beat us every session, and he's riding awesome, so hats off to him. Yeah, we had a great race going with my teammate there. He put a nice move on me in the last corner, and we got a little spicy, and I think he crashed on turn 13 there. But I'm so proud of my whole team, Indian Motorcycle. This is our home race, SNS Cycles, my whole crew. Thank you guys so much. This feels really wonderful. My family's here. It's a great way to celebrate Father's Day. All of our partners, Progressive, Parts Unlimited Drag Specialties, everybody that supports this program. I'm so grateful, honored to be out here, and man, this feels good. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for staying and sticking it out for the end of the race. And yeah, we feel it out there. We love the support. Good points day. We're gonna keep chipping away. I'm having fun. My Indian Challenger's running so good. Just really enjoying this. After yesterday, we got my pocket pick. So yesterday was tough and it really hurt. So this feels really good. Thank you.
Congrats, Tyler.
Outstanding job. Hey, you want to know what these championship standings are? Troy Herfoss gets 1 single point on Kyle, so it's now 13. Tyler O'Hara is now 63 back with Hayden Gillum only 70. So what a points haul for these riders. Our coverage of Mission King of the Baggers will continue from Brainerd International Raceway in a moment.
You heard, as Hayden Gillum said there, this really is all of the hard work that these guys have been doing since back in September. These bikes continue to develop, Roger.
Third place today for James Ruspoli, rounding out our Mission King of the Baggers podium. And James, it's been a while since we've seen a podium appearance from you. Made big progress with the bike, but haven't been able to show it until today. Tell us about it.
Yeah, first, it's a real shame, Kyle. I don't know what happened to him, you know, and I really just got to give a shout out to the whole Harley-Davidson crew. They rebuilt an entire bike yesterday after I destroyed it. You know, we've done 2 of them the last weekends. We didn't quite have the pace in the race there. I was a little nervous after the crash, and I saw people dropping like flies, so I was like, you know, just keep it together. I got the gap behind me. I'm just going to put it on cruise and bring it home. You know, we got a factory bike on the podium. Congrats to Hayden. He's been killing it all weekend. It goes to show you that, you know, anything can happen in this championship with Herfoss going down, and, you know, it's just these bikes are so fast. We're going so fast, and, man, I'm just happy. I got the whole crew here. Thank you so much, and everybody that came out, all the Harley people, I love it, and thank you so much.
Congrats, James, rounding out your podium.
Thank you to Hannah. Yes, it was a great run for James Ruspoli, being able to rebound from the result yesterday of not finishing a big crash, and that whole team working so hard overnight to get him back out there and in contention for a podium, and he certainly was there to take advantage of it.
Celebrations about to get underway for Mission King of the Baggers here at Brainerd International Raceway on a Father's Day weekend, and smiles all around for what is a crazy one, and anything can happen in Mission King of the Baggers Championship, JP.
Yeah, there's no question, and man, we've just seen so much crazy interaction between all these riders, and this guy just had a perfect weekend. I mean, Hayden Gillum was class of the field here. He likes this track. I mean, Greg, if it wasn't for one little slip up today in one of the other races, he would have won 4 races on the weekend. So big congrats to Hayden Gillum.
So we're going to do it again at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, July 12th through the 14th for Mission King of the Baggers. It'll be the round 6, so make sure you join us then. For Hannah and Jason, I'm Greg. We'll see you then.
Get ready to eat like a